Brianna Aldridge joined by Garrett Podell with CBS Sports here on a Thursday as the Cowboys are get ready for a Denver trip where they're going to try to get a win somewhere. They haven't done that since 1992. Neither Garrett nor I were alive at that time. So there's that. But this is an opportunity for this Cowboys team to get a winning record this season. But on top of that, we got to talk about who they have to contain, and that is a second-year quarterback in Bo Nix.
Yeah, and, the New York Giants did a really good job of containing Bo Nix for 3 quarters. And then he became the first player in NFL history to have multiple passing touchdowns and multiple rushing touchdowns in 1 quarter of play in that 4th quarter when Denver went from down 19-0 to a 33-32 win. And I asked Matt Eberflus, the Cowboys defensive coordinator, today about Nix, and he called him gritty and referenced he's a coach's son, very cerebral. And I think kind of the Broncos offense, how they set it up for him to pass, is going to be a challenge for Dallas's defense, but not because they take a ton of deep shots. They actually lead the NFL 47 screen passes thrown. That's number 1 in the NFL. So what does that mean for Dallas? That means their defense is going to be stretched to be very sound fundamentally tackling, because it's going to stretch them out wide, get a lot of guys in space. And that's something the Cowboys really tightened up against Washington, but they'd had some issues earlier in the year. So that's really going to be interesting to see how well can the Cowboys defense defend these screens.
They've talked about the atmosphere and what it's like playing in that stadium, and they use it to their advantage, like you mentioned, has an historic comeback. 33 points in 1 quarter is insane. Bo Nix using his legs, his ability to scramble. Clayton Adams says that's a problem, but he's their second leading rusher, but they got another guy over there, and they are running the ball a lot. That's their identity on offense right now.
Absolutely, because everything Sean Payton kind of builds is off of the run for them. So, yeah, they have Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, and they really kind of build off the short and quick passing game off of those things, and that's kind of been a challenge for Dallas the last couple weeks. Early in the season, the run defense was good. A few weeks later, the run game started to fall off a cliff a little bit. Last week, they kind of bounced back against Washington, but, I don't know how much of a real test that was, considering Jane Daniels got hurt during the game, and they didn't have Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin. So, Dallas didn't have to really stretch themselves defending the pass last week. So this week, it's going to be a little different with Nix and Cortland Sutton deep downfield for them to really stay and hang in with these guys. So I'm really fascinated to see that, especially with Kenny Clark. He's got the elbow injury he suffered at the end of last game. He left and came back in the game, and we saw him out at practice today with a brace on and some tape, but he looks like he's going to play this week. He's been limited in practice.
And I know they're still figuring out injury-wise what's going to be happening with Trevon Diggs, but it kind of sounds like he's trending not towards playing, from what I was hearing.
That's what Matt Eberflus made it sound like. He said, look, he's in the concussion protocol. The longer he's in there, the less likely he's going to play.
Yeah.
So the mystery around what happened with that situation continues, but what we do know is probably not going to see him again for a second straight week.
Yeah, so he's dealing with his concussion protocol. But let's talk about the other part of this defense. It's going to be important, that pass rush, right? They're looking to build off of last week. Now, the interior on the other side, that O-line is one of the best in the league right now for a reason. Similar to the Cowboys, they have a lot of people who've been on that O-line together for years. Garrett Boyles being one of the best left tackles in this league. What matchup are you kind of looking for when you're looking at Cowboys D-line and their O-line?
I think it's going to come down to the guys who lead this Cowboys defense in quarterback pressures this year. It's Kenny Clark, it's Oso Digizua. It's the 2 defensive tackles. So I think them getting their push inside and really forcing the Denver pocket to kind of collapse internally, that could maybe flush Bo Nix out of the pocket, maybe into Jadeveon Clowney, who got his first sack of the season last week for Dallas, or Donovan Ezeraku, the second round rookie. He got his first sack last week, which was something he was really kind of pressing for because he was number 2 in the nation in college with Boston College with over 16 sacks a year ago. So I think really getting that interior push and letting the edge rushers like Clowney and Ezeraku kind of feed off of that is going to be incredibly important for Dallas this week.
What's kind of intriguing for you when you're looking at the secondary? Now, we just mentioned Trevon Diggs most likely not going to be out there. Deron Bland getting that start in the slot was kind of a little bit of a surprise, I will say, but it looks like him and Reddy Stewart were taking the reps there again. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go. But you asked about Kaiir Elam. Do you think that's going to be something that we're going to see again this week?
Absolutely. I think he's going to be an outside cornerback starter like he was last week. And his start to the season was pretty rough through weeks 1 through 4. Now, I've talked to him about this stat, the yards and pass coverage allowed. NFL Pro tracks it, and you kind of have to guess whose responsibility the closest guys to the ball, but he had allowed the most yards in the NFL through the first 4 weeks. His snap count kind of declined as Trevon Diggs got healthier, but last week started, and Matty Eberflus said he looked good in practice, and they liked what they saw him on the field. Want to see him improve still in a lot of areas, but he's kind of bounced back the last couple of weeks, and even against Carolina, he'd only given up one or completion. So he's really kind of built himself back up a little bit. So watching how he's going to handle, whether it's Sutton or Marvin Mims or whoever they throw outside at him, how that's going to go. And I think Bland also, we saw he finally got that pick six, his first since against Washington in 2023 when he set the single season picks record with 5. I'm curious to see like how aggressive they are with him, because Matty Eberflus blitzed at his highest rate of the season, highest man coverage rate, not just for Dallas this last week, of any team in the NFL. They played man on over 49% of their coverage snaps, and so that's something Dallas fans have been clamoring for. Jerry Jones, when we spoke to him last week, he wanted to see it. So I'm curious, will they stick to it? He said, I look at analytics and the tape to see what I want to do, but I think we might see a little more man coverage, and I think that's to Dallas's benefit.
Yeah, might. Matty Eberflus says he played man. Just to be clear, I know Cowboys Nation wanted it, but he said they played man because that's what their opponent said that they needed to play. So we shall see if they can get it done and get their second consecutive win, something they haven't been able to do this season. Thank you, Garrett, for Garrett Podell, for Brianna Aldridge.